Hey guys, welcome to another episode of LJ's Garage. Behind me is a 2019 Nissan Sentra SV. I spent the last 2 days behind the wheel of this amazing car, and I tried to sweet talk Ryan at the Enterprise dealership saying, hey buddy, go ahead and just upgrade me to the Cadillac or the BMW right next to me, and he said no. So stay tuned, we're going to talk all about this SV and figure out what kind of person would want to buy one of these, and if it's a good road trip car. So as I was thinking, I was like, you know, what kind of person would want one of these? What is the perfect consumer for one of these Sentras? And then I was thinking, what if my kid asked me for his first car and he said this?
Dad, I want my first car to be roomy, stylish, and affordable.
So the best thing about the Sentra is the entry-level price for it is $17,000. And that goes all the way to $26,000 if you opt for the fully loaded Nismo or the SL and really, you know, spend a little money to have a really, really nice ride. And honestly, in the short time that I've spent with it, I'm actually pretty impressed with this little small car, other than one problem, which we'll talk about later. So stay tuned. I'm going to take you guys on a tour of the outside, hop on the inside, and let's talk about this Sentra SV. With this being the SV, you don't get all the cool things like LED headlights or daytime running lights that are really cool. But what you do get the boomerang style updated Nissan front end. And then you do also get halogen bulbs. So yeah. People will not see you coming behind them, and you will have a hard time seeing on the road, but that's okay because this has really great safety ratings. So at the end of the day, you're covered, right? In 2020, which is this year, Nissan went ahead and they did a full redesign of the Sentra, and it looks like a baby Maxima, it looks like a little Altima, whatever you want to call it. They did a complete redesign of this car. So this is the last year you're going to see this type of front end or this body style. It looks a little different, but overall, I think this looks pretty darn good. Normally, on a lot of the newer model cars, they have, you know, the forward collision avoidance systems, which this does have, and you get that on all of the Sentras. But interestingly enough, Nissan doesn't even try to hide this little radar sensor down here. I'm not an engineer, so I don't really know exactly why they didn't cover it, but I know a lot of the other brands do and put some sort of effort into hiding that little feature that can kind of be a little bit of an eyesore. It doesn't really bother me, but I just kind of hate that the effort's not all there. Another thing you get by going for the SV is you don't have those silly little plastic hubcaps or weird looking wheels. You get 16-inch alloys, and not only that, the kind of baller. Pausing our tour here at the side mirrors, they do have a cold weather or all weather package, which gives you heated seats and heated side mirrors. This does not have that, but on the SV, you can opt for it if you really want. And that's if you're someone who prefers your buns toasted. Another thing you get with the SV is you get the keyless entry. So you push it one time to lock, push it another time to unlock. And if you hit it 2 times, it unlocks all the doors. Hey, fancy, right? In order to save a little bit of money, the one complaint that I do have is that on the back of the Sentra, which has kind of been a thing for a long time now, they do have drum brakes. So up front you have disc brakes, but the drum brakes on the back, kind of old school, it's more of a pickup truck thing, but I like the disc brakes because they're easier to change, easier to work on, and not only that, better stopping power. So when you go to the higher trims or you have the Nismo or the Turbo, then you can go ahead and get better brake. So here we are on the back side of the Nissan Sentra SV, so you know that I'm not lying to you. And on the back end, everything is pretty much simple, little compact car affair back here. I'll go ahead and pop this trunk, maybe. Oh, where's your button? There it is. And go ahead and take a look. There's actually plenty of value in this rear cargo space. I won't climb in there and demonstrate how many bodies you can fit, but just know that with the coronavirus and everything going on right now, you can throw many cases of water in there and toilet paper. And will someone please just explain to me what the toilet paper is all about? I am in the back seat. I've got this seat set for someone that is about 5'9", and as you can see right up here, there's a good bit of space. I've got a whole hand's worth of room. I can stretch out, get comfortable. There's plenty of space back here. We don't have any rear climate vents or anything fancy. There is a USB port and a little Type-C charger, and then you do get cup holders. It's supposed to seat 5. Let me slide over here a little bit. And so you're supposed to be able to fit 5 people in here. Let's see if you got anything cool. 2 more cup holders. And other than that, that's all you get. Headroom, pretty good. I'd say someone that's about 6'3" or so could fit pretty comfortably back here. Any taller than that, and you might want to go call an Uber. You see this little pin thing right here. You go ahead and pull up on this. It allows you to fold the seats back. Let me slide out of the way here. And they do fold pretty nicely. And now you've got access to the trunk and able to put larger objects or items in your Versa, in the back of your Sentra. The SV also gives you premium cloth interior. Premium. Now it's time to talk about the glorious motor that powers this beast. If you're not sitting down, you might want to sit down because the power that this thing makes is through the roof. Under the hood is a 1.8 liter 4-cylinder that makes 124 horsepower and 130 foot-pounds of torque. Yeah, okay. Luckily, this is an economical vehicle vehicle? I can never say that word. Fortunately, this is all about fuel economy and performance in that aspect, not about 0 to 60s or anything. I won't even tell you what that number is because it does not matter. But what you do get is a CVT, which is a continuously variable transmission, basically an automatic. If you go for the S, the entry-level base transmission is a manual. So they still do offer this with a manual transmission, and you have to pay about $1,100, $1,200 if you want to get the CVT. It is worth it in my opinion. You do also have the option to spend a little bit more money and go for the turbo models. And with the turbo, you get about 180 horsepower and better braking and a cooler looks because it's a Nismo. But the good thing is that you also don't need a whole lot of power because it only weighs about 2,800 pounds. That's a little bit more than a Mazda Miata. And on top of that, you get front wheel drive, gas mileage for a 13-gallon tank, 29 city, 37 highway. And we were able to pull off 35 miles per gallon on this road trip of about 600 miles. So those numbers are true. This isn't a Volkswagen scandal, so good job on you, Nissan. A couple things I want to point out first is that if you go for the S, you're going to get a backup camera. You've got Nissan's little fancy-ish text messaging feature that's in there. You do get a 4-speaker sound system. All 4 speakers sound pretty good. And then you do get cruise control. Now, if you go for the SV, that adds Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Pretty nice. You do get those wheels I talked about. You do get the premium cloth I mentioned. Not only that, but you do get that keyless entry as well. On top of that, see, the value just keeps going. You get a 6-speaker sound system. And lastly, but definitely not leastly, you do get dual climate control. These buttons will not last very long, but overall the system works pretty good, I have to say. You do get a little cubby holder down there, a little outlet right there. This is your CVT controls. If you don't know what any of this means, you shouldn't be driving, but basically park, reverse, neutral, drive, low gear. Then up here, this is where the fun can start to happen. You got AM, FM, Sirius XM. You can go ahead and connect your phone via Bluetooth or connect it with a USB cable to go ahead and use Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, etc. And then this is the view from the driver's standpoint. As you can see, I've got low fuel, ignore that. But on your stock right here, you've got your turn signals and everything like that, your lighting controls. So that's pretty straightforward. Come over to this left-hand side. You've got a couple more familiar things, your trunk release, your mirror adjustments, your interior lighting, and then down here you've got eco mode, so you can make this thing even slower for your teenager or for yourself if you have no self-control. Then your traction control button, you can go ahead and disable that if you want, so your teenager is nice and safe. Down here you've got your hood release and then your fuel tank release. I bet you guys can't guess what these 3 buttons do. They're not labeled, but if you can guess, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Back to the steering wheel, you've got your cruise control settings there, straightforward. Overall, everything in here is pretty okay. No real complaints. Normal economy car type layout. And then on your dash, you've got a couple things. Ignore that. That's your basic display. And yeah, so if you go in here, you can see your trip. That's cool. Driving aids. And you got no warnings. You can see you got driver assistance, clock settings, maintenance. Pretty boring stuff. All right, guys, we're gonna do, well, we'll just do straight from 60. So 0 and go, floor it. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Overall, so far, I've got to say that it's okay. Everything is okay in this car. It's all right. You know, I want to complain about things, but it's just being, you know, a first world country type of problem. But I can't sit here and complain about this. Nissan's done a wonderful job with this super value package. So I'm going to floor it. 40, 50, 60 miles an hour. And just like that, we're there, guys. So I don't know how long that took. It took longer than I personally like, but again, if this is for your teenage kid or you and you have no self-control with speeding, this is perfect for you. Comfort, it's comfortable. It's nothing luxurious by any means, but it's comfortable. Driving through the Indiana roads, I've got to say certain parts were pretty rough, but that's just driving through Indiana. Sorry if you're from that state. I don't really know why. I'm sorry for you. But this handled it all right. It wasn't, again, nothing luxurious. Gas mileage is the best selling point about this car because it's got great gas mileage. On one single tank, I was able to get about 430 miles, and that was driving pretty conservatively. And by that, I mean I was going like 80 miles an hour the whole time, which, you know, the speed limit was 80, I'm pretty sure. And this car was able to still pull off really good gas mileage. I wasn't able to pass anyone aggressively. I had to use my turn signals and, you know, be a polite driver because it's hard to get up to speed and you slow down and then it takes forever to get back up to 60 miles an hour. So the road noise is pretty bad in this car. I think it's just the fact that it's so low to the ground. The tires are pretty small, not the best either, but that takes a little bit of getting used to. This windows, the insulation, there really isn't much, but that's what happens when you're under $20,000 on a car. And I can't imagine they added a whole lot more insulation once you get to the higher model trims. But overall, this is supposed to be a bargain economy car that gets you from A to B comfortably enough, relaxed enough, and saves money in your wallet. Or keeps money in your wallet, not saves money in your wallet. And that's all I have for you guys this week. Thank you so much for checking out yet another episode. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing and drop a comment down below. Let me know what your favorite economy car is, and maybe I should take it for a spin.